let's take a look at this ad. Let's start there. Now we've got a really nice place, but let's see what we can do to help out this coaching student that we have. Let's make this ad better. The place is fantastic, but the ad isn't generating the kind of response. They're getting response, just not the kind of response that they're wanting. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through some of the pictures first, guys, so that everyone can see the pictures. The place is great. So, beautiful job done. But let's see what we can learn, okay? So I'm just going to scroll through some of the pictures first. Now notice this is on Facebook Marketplace, okay? There's lots of places we can put it on Facebook, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes here. But this is Facebook Marketplace. We're looking through the pictures. We're seeing it as a tenant would see it. And that's our whole point tonight is what would we see if we're looking for a place and we're a tenant?
I do want to say whoever did the renovation did a good job because it doesn't matter how good your photo is. If your product is not good, it means nothing, right? So they did a good job on renovation.
Absolutely. And, I'm not going to use the name just because I don't have permission to do so. But if you guys are watching and you want to say, hey, yeah, that was us, then I will continue to carry that. They do fantastic work. I would trust them with anything. But let's see if we can help them make this better. So,
what's interesting, Tiff, is when you sent it to me and I opened it up, that first picture, the kitchen picture, was not my first picture that I saw. It was the closet in the bedroom. So I'm not sure if there's something algorithm-y happening there that it's changing the first or what's going on. But this is definitely a much better first picture.
Okay, so there we go. We learned something right away. First off, Sam said, okay, if you don't have a good product, pictures aren't really going to help you all that much. So we need to do a good job in providing good product for our tenants. So first thing, good product, guys. Get good product for the people that we serve. Remember, they're paying our bills, okay? Angie then mentions, take a look at the mobile version and the desktop version of your ads and see how tenants are viewing it. Okay, that's the picture. Hang on, Angie. I'm just gonna stop my share for 1 second.
So that's the first thing that comes up for me.
That's the first picture that came up for Angie on this ad. I mean, it's nice finishings, but not the first thing you want to be shown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so awesome. So great points already, guys. I love that you guys are all here. Need flash in dark room. Okay, yes. A door missing to the right of the microwave. Interesting. So these are all comments that we can learn from, right? So Heather, I didn't suggest installing the fridge. Staging the living room. All right, virtual staging. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit and show you some befores and afters on all that. What a difference it can make. Some initial things that we've seen. So what else, guys, did you see that you would change in this ad to get more traction? Let's go through pictures. You guys can stop me when you want.
So for me, pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? It's more important because this is what people are going to really be looking at. And I have a bias, and I really think having professional photos and going the extra mile and getting the photos staged, either in real life or virtually, can make a huge difference to your ad.
Absolutely. Okay, so professional pictures and staging. We're going to see some befores and afters of some examples of how those things look. All right, Sam, what do you think? What do you see as we go through these pictures that from your experienced eye, you know what it looks like inside, I'm sure, but from the pictures, what are you seeing?
Well, to their defense, I'm pretty sure they're trying to pre-lease the product. So it's like 90% ready. That's why they're trying to put photos and generate lead. And I do it all the time, and it's totally fine. Just update your photo when it's fully ready and get the professional photos. That's definitely worth every single, but especially it's just renovated. You will not have a better shape than like this right now at this moment. So take the picture now. Yeah, just answer your question on Facebook. The first picture pop up is a glitch that we spend a lot of time trying to figure out. Is like for me, like when I pull up the ad, it's actually showing the outside of the house. So for Facebook, this specific platform, there's not much you can do, to be honest. But definitely on other platform, make sure you organize your photo better so that your best picture is on the front. And when you look through all these photos, I can tell you, I'm a little bit lost in the unit. I don't know exactly the layout. Ideally, you want to position your photos to a way that so that when they click through all the photos, they seems like already walk through the whole house, right? So
Ooh.
yeah,
Okay,
sometimes
that's
an
something I've
angle.
never thought of. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes
What
an
I've always
angle, you want
done,
to capture a little bit on the side of the kitchen, then now people can start emerging. Okay, kitchen is right over there, the living room is here, right? So sometimes when you take those photos, you want to be more thoughtful, and obviously the widest angle, the better, right?
yes, absolutely. Okay. And that's again, like, so I've been doing self-management for 20 years. I've been renting out. I've rented out, I think we're over 1,000 tenants now. I never would have thought of that you want to kind of position it so they feel like they're walking through. What I've always done is put the nicest pictures first and kind of an overall view. And then, but you're right. A lot of people are very visual and they want to feel like they walk through the house. I like it. I love it.
Well, if you have virtual tour, then it doesn't matter, right? If you have a video and stuff, then it doesn't matter. But if you don't have one, then make sure you position your photo properly. I still put my best 5 photos first, but ideally, I'm trying to say is like some of your angle, you want to capture a little bit more than just the living room. So like when you're taking a living room, you want to capture a little bit the kitchen. So now they can know exactly the kitchen is actually right by the living room, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think to
So
that point, sorry, to that point, Sam, about making sure you get your widest angle. So I noticed some of the pictures were vertically shot rather than horizontally. And with the newer iPhones, especially, there's a feature on there where you can kind of zoom out and get an even wider lens view of rooms. So trying a feature like that if you have.
yeah, I like it. You know what I would love to see is well, here, I'll show you one that I saw and immediately spoke to me because so the beauty of this suite is that, for one, it's actually quite large. And secondly, the ceilings are actually not low. But what I got from this picture is that it's low ceilings. Did you same thing, Angie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the beauty, guys, of getting professional photos now is $200 to $250, okay, depending on where you are in the country. I fought this one for quite a while because I thought, no, the photos that I'm taking are decent. I made sure I always had, and I'm not a phone person. I don't care if I have the newest thing or not, but I would make sure I had a good phone with a good camera. But here's the difference. This picture that you're seeing on the screen right now, what a professional photographer will do is, for one, they'll have lighting that lights up the whole place, including the ceiling. So it doesn't look like the ceiling's coming down on you. Secondly, they will use what Sam was talking about, or sorry, what Angie was talking about, that wide angle so that you aren't, sitting in a vertical picture like this when your screen is like this. So couple of, as much as it's when you're thinking cash flow and you're like, oh, I'm barely making the cash flow right now as it is, especially in some markets. This stuff, see, $250, do I really need it? In my opinion, you absolutely need it. Sam, what about in your opinion?
You pick the photo that I will put the first photo is that one, but I will do it in a different angle. You see how they photo in the street? I will do it in the corner, and then I will take it from the corner angle. It will be way wider, and but again, like as I say, like because they just renovate the product, like I don't know, somehow squeeze that $250 because you will never get this condition again, and you need to take it now.
Okay, so you'll never get this condition again. What he means is right after, and you mentioned this before, Sam, right after renovation, It's prime. It's beautiful. Even though some of these pictures are taken in, you're right, Sam, they are preempting. They're trying to rent it before it's quite finished. So you're right. But now that they're approaching the finish line, it's like these pictures are the best you're going to get, even for sale. So we've used these pictures even 3-4 years after, and use them for our sale pictures rather than having to wait till your tenant vacates, extending that vacancy for a month while you just for pictures. Now that's expensive pictures. You've got not only your $250, but you've got your vacancy on top of that just for the pictures. So this is really important. So Angie, what about you? Are you of the same opinion? Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. And I agree. You know, your property's never going to look as good as it does freshly, right after that freshly renovated position. But also, like you said, Tiff, you know, ideally, you're not going to have the time in between tenant turnover to get the professional photos and staging done then. So as soon as possible, and we've learned, the better.
Right? The hard way for me. Yeah. So I had a place that I could not rent out. This was a few years back. It just wasn't renting. And I thought I had some pretty nice pictures. Finally, I bit the bullet after like 2 months of vacancy, or maybe 6 weeks. Bit the bullet, got my professional photos, rented it like literally first viewing after that. It was just such a difference. So
what we've done too is, like, if you don't get those pictures, then you're sometimes at the mercy of taking photos with your tenants' things in them. And as nicely as they might decorate, it might not be your taste and it might not appeal to the masses. So then you've got pictures of other people's sometimes personal belongings as well. So that can pose a problem.
So Angie, based on that, oh my goodness, here I am scrolling through some of these comments. Oh yeah, okay, that is coming up. I'm like, and it's not even coming up. Angie, so you sent me ahead some pictures that, you know, touch on exactly what you just said, where it's their stuff in there. And, you know, I actually thought your pictures the year before's with the tenant stuff, I was like, you know, they're not that bad. I would almost, in my early days, have been like, you know what, this isn't bad. This will show good enough. But do you mind if I show some of those right now?
No, please. Is that the 746 you're thinking?
Let me see here. It is, I don't know the addresses. Let me see. You can tell me if this is the one.
So if it's the property we're talking about, not only is it not professional photos, but it's also tenants' items in the property. And that's what we used to advertise for a few years on that one.
Okay, interesting. Is this the one? So, you know, when I see these, I'm like, okay, a little old fashioned, but people can kind of probably see through it. The kitchen looks pretty good. The furniture is not that bad. It's pretty uncluttered. Like it's not too bad in my opinion. But let's check out the living room with, now what is this? You tell me.
The in real life staging versus virtual staging.
Is this the right one?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What a difference going from this. It's okay, right? Some of us might think, oh, this, like, it's not horrible. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. And then we see this. Now, is this in-person staging or is this virtual staging?
Yeah, that's in person.
It's in person. So this is actually a bed that has been brought in by a staging company, and, you know, whatever. All this stuff is actual in person. Expensive, right?
Can be, yeah.
The difference, guys, not only between professional photos, but then virtual staging. And let's talk a little bit more about that. I think I have these ones right, Angie. Okay, Angie, how does that one look? Is this yours?
Yeah.
All right. So is this the same?
Yeah, that's the reno we just finished in November. So this is after renovation, before staging.
Okay. So now we're talking about virtual staging, guys. This is where we don't bring an actual bed and an actual table and chairs in and accessories. This is literally all digital. Okay. So here's a couple of pictures of this property before, so after renovations, but before it was virtually staged.
And the nice thing with the virtual is obviously it's far more inexpensive. So it's about $30 an image, depending on who you go with. Really quick turnaround time often. And in this case, it was my photographer who took the photos, and then he also had them staged. So you've got the, yeah, kind of continuity there.
Nice. So generally what I've done is I get a professional photographer, they take the pictures, but then I go onto Fiverr, and I know some people use like a specific, but I've found really good people on Fiverr, and then I get them to virtually stage.
Yeah.
Sam, how about you? Do you do virtual staging?
Some of my clients will do it. My own houses, sometimes I use tenant staging. Most of my tenant is very good furniture and stuff like that. But just a tip, like I really pick up from one of my investor friend that when you virtual staging, trying to ask whoever do it, incorporate something that relate to your target tenant profile. For example, maybe you want to make sure they put something with a computer desk or something that they work from home, then they can immerse themselves into the space, right? That's the point of virtual staging. Virtual staging is amazing if it's like a big space like that. Sometimes if I use virtual staging, I will really write it down on the photo, say it's virtual staging. It's kind of a regulation thing too, and then you don't want to interpret wrong to people that this is a furnished rental as well, right? So, but virtual staging is amazing.
Absolutely. Okay, so really good tip there. Make sure that you put very clearly in the description that these are virtually staged, so they don't expect to walk into a fully, furnished house. Also, that this is not a furnished rental, but an empty house that they can make their own. So here's a couple of pictures. We're going to go through these a little bit quick. Okay. So when we see those, here's the virtually staged property. And this is Angie's property in Saskatoon. Boom. There's the virtually staged. Now, while I'm sharing screen, I can't see your comments, guys, but throw it in the comments, yay or nay. Do you think this would attract a better tenant to your home? Angie, you mentioned $30 per photo. So this cost you to go from this to this was 30 bucks plus, let's say, on average $10 for or $20 even. So let's say $50 per photo for a professional photographer. Would you say that's a fair estimation?
Yeah. And the photographer usually is $200 and does the entire house. We don't get the entire house staged often. But yeah, yep.
So like between $30 and $50 per picture. And again, guys, you're attracting this tenant, which is nice. It's a great place. It's like, good job. I'm going to get a good tenant. Or, oh my goodness, this is the one. This is the one. Now, Sam, to your point, anybody notice, and I'm all about, I don't know, I'm weird. I like all these little home trends. I don't follow them too crazy, but I do like the home trends. So these like frondy things that are in the picture, Andrea, I noticed this a couple times in your staged pictures. This is clearly attracting a certain tenant. This is highlighting and going for that tenant demographic that you're looking for. And it's this kind of funky stuff, like Sam said, that attracts. Make sure to include some elements. This picture thing, I don't know what's on the wall, the fabric macrame thingy.
Yeah.
Again, it's a certain demographic that's going to go, oh, wow, I love that. Right? So are we attracting the right tenants? All right, let's look at this one. So we got an empty room. It's pretty nice. Big window. Sam, what'd you say about making sure that you include certain things?
Well, home office is one of the biggest thing, right? So this is amazing example. It really staged very well. Like people look at this, say, "Hey, I want to work in this home office," right?
Right.
And you attract someone working too now.
Right. Okay. And here's the coolest part about virtual staging. We've just said like between $30 and $50. Not only can you stage it as an office, but same room, I think. And you can stage it as a bedroom. So now you're hitting all the niches that you want. Maybe you want a young family. Well, you're hitting them here. Maybe you want a young couple. Now you're hitting them here. So for very, very, cheap dollars, you can absolutely hit those you want. So again, this picture to this picture. Which one makes you say, okay, this is the one. This is the one I need to go to. This is the one. Bring the money, bring the deposit. We're getting this one.